Hey everyone, welcome back to Reelz. Today we're diving into a powerful what if scenario that I've been thinking about for a while. As a Michael Jackson fan, this one is definitely close to my heart and it's not an easy topic. We're exploring what might have happened if, in 2005, Michael had been found guilty and gone to prison. How would that have changed his life, his legacy, and the world around him? It's a tough journey, but an important one to explore. So let's dive in together with open minds. In this alternate scenario, Michael Jackson, at 46 years old, is found guilty of multiple counts of child molestation and related charges in June 2005. Instead of walking away a free man, he is sentenced to a substantial prison term, potentially between 10-20 years. This conviction sends shockwaves through the world, as Jackson's fame and influence make his fall from grace a defining cultural moment of the 2000s. Michael Jackson is transferred to a state correctional facility. His entry into prison is an incredibly high-profile event covered by global news outlets. Initially, the world is divided. Some believe he is paying for his alleged crimes, while others still see him as a victim of exploitation and false accusation. However, the sheer weight of a conviction shifts public sentiment dramatically against him, more so than during his 1993 settlement. Jackson, already a frail and reclusive figure by the early 2000s, would struggle immensely in prison. Throughout his adult life, he faced various health issues, including dependency on prescription medications, which would now become more complicated due to the lack of access and restrictions in a prison setting. The stress of incarceration, combined with his vulnerability, would almost certainly exacerbate these health issues. He may be placed in solitary confinement for his own protection, further affecting his physical and mental health. Jackson's vitiligo, lupus, and various skin conditions would require careful treatment, which would be difficult to manage consistently in a correctional setting. By the end of 2006, his physical condition may have visibly deteriorated. Weight loss, pale complexion, and possible bouts of withdrawal due to limited access to prescription medications. The Jackson family dynamic, already strained due to Michael's success, wealth, and the pressures of fame, would become more fragmented following his conviction. Katherine Jackson, his mother, would continue to be one of his biggest supporters, visiting frequently and working tirelessly to appeal the conviction. However, Joseph Jackson, Michael's father, might distance himself out of shame or frustration, as he was known to be concerned with the family's image. Janet Jackson and some siblings would rally for Michael in public, maintaining his innocence and leading efforts to keep his legacy intact. Yet, behind closed doors, the burden of his conviction, financial and emotional, would create tensions. Janet's career, which took a hit after the 2004 Super Bowl incident, would now be under even greater pressure due to the association with Michael. Michael's children, Prince, Paris, and Blanket, would be significantly impacted. Prince, 8, Paris, 7, and Blanket, 3, would lose regular contact with their father. The children would likely stay with Katherine, with significant challenges of managing the relentless public attention, the media portraying their father as a criminal, and growing up without Michael's presence. Their emotional health would suffer. Paris, who was notably close to her father, might struggle the most, potentially leading to future mental health issues. Michael Jackson, being an immensely famous figure, would be a high-profile target within the prison system. Likely placed in a protective unit, Michael would struggle with isolation, limited human interaction, and strict daily routines. Unlike the life of luxury and adulation he was used to, he would face a harsh and mundane reality in prison, which would inevitably cause severe psychological distress. Michael's mental health, fragile even before his conviction, would suffer significantly. Pressures and stresses of prison life, coupled with the burden of public shame, could lead to bouts of severe depression. His anxiety and paranoia, which he spoke about in interviews even during his career highs, would escalate, possibly resulting in a mental breakdown. He might turn to music as a coping mechanism, but the lack of professional-grade instruments and limited access to recording equipment would hinder his creative output. There could be reports of Michael attempting to sing or write in his cell, but without any means to fully realize his artistic vision, his creativity would be stifled. The conviction would put an abrupt end to Michael's career. His assets, already strained due to mounting legal bills and dwindling album sales, would face liquidation. Neverland Ranch would almost certainly be sold off to pay debts and cover legal fees. The public perception of Michael Jackson would be irrevocably tarnished, with the music industry distancing itself from his catalog. Sony Music, which owned a significant portion of Jackson's music publishing rights, would likely seek to sever ties with him to protect its reputation. Michael's unreleased recordings, previously guarded with the potential of a comeback, might be shelved indefinitely or released posthumously without fanfare. Public perception of Michael Jackson, once divided, would swing heavily towards condemnation. His conviction would redefine his legacy. Instead of the king of pop, Michael would now be remembered primarily for the allegations and his incarceration. The music videos, the moonwalk, and his cultural impact would be overshadowed by his fall from grace. The music industry would likely undergo a reckoning, with retrospectives examining how such a figure remained celebrated amid multiple allegations. His previous work might be largely canceled by mainstream media and audiences, removed from radio playlists, and largely erased from pop culture conversations. Younger generations would come to know Michael Jackson primarily through the lens of his trial and conviction rather than his artistry. I asked AI, would Michael leave the country when he was released from prison? Since to me, that would be the only option that would make sense. And this is what AI told me. The likelihood of Michael Jackson leaving the United States after his release from prison would be fairly high, given the circumstances surrounding his conviction, the intense public scrutiny, and the potential for a more private life away from the relentless media attention in the U.S. upon his hypothetical release from prison in the mid-2010-ish. Michael Jackson would likely seek refuge abroad to escape the relentless media scrutiny and public vilification that had plagued him throughout his trial and incarceration. Given his history of seeking peace outside of the United States during times of turmoil, it's plausible that Michael would move to a country like Bahrain, Ireland, or perhaps a place in the Middle East, Africa, or Asia, where his global fan base might still support him. Bahrain, where he had previously lived under the patronage of Sheikh Abdullah, could provide him a safe haven, while Ireland's quiet rural environment might appeal to his need for tranquility. Relocating abroad would also be motivated by a desire to protect his children from the intense scrutiny in the U.S., allowing them a chance at a more private upbringing and personal development. Though he might face legal challenges related to international travel due to his criminal record, leveraging relationships with influential individuals could potentially help him overcome these obstacles. Ultimately, leaving the U.S. would provide Michael with a better chance to rebuild his life, reconnect with his family, and find some semblance of peace after years of scandal and public downfall. In this alternate scenario, where Michael Jackson was convicted in 2005 for child molestation and related charges, the precedent set by his conviction would have had a profound impact on the entertainment industry, particularly influencing the handling of subsequent high-profile cases, such as those involving Sean Diddy Combs in 2024. Michael Jackson's conviction would have underscored a significant shift in the legal system's approach to prosecuting celebrities accused of serious crimes. This landmark case demonstrated that fame and influence do not grant immunity from legal consequences, establishing that even the most prominent figures are subject to the law. Fast forward to 2024, Sean Diddy Combs faces multiple allegations, including sex trafficking, racketeering, and sexual assault. The legal framework and societal attitudes shaped by Jackson's earlier conviction would likely influence the proceedings against Combs in several ways. Authorities, having learned from the Jackson case, would be more proactive in investigating allegations against high-profile individuals, leading to more thorough and expedited investigations into Combs' activities. Prosecutors might also adopt more aggressive strategies, bolstered by the precedent that successful convictions of celebrities are attainable, resulting in a more rigorous pursuit of charges against Combs. Judges, aware of the public's expectation for accountability, may be less inclined to grant leniency based on celebrity status. This is evident in Combs being denied bail multiple times, reflecting a cautious approach to prevent potential witness tampering or flight risk. Jackson's conviction would have also heightened public awareness and sensitivity toward allegations of abuse by celebrities. In Combs' case, this would likely lead to intensified media scrutiny, with the media adopting a more critical stance and focusing extensively on the allegations and the legal process. The public, influenced by the outcome of Jackson's case, may exhibit less tolerance for alleged misconduct, demanding thorough investigations and appropriate legal actions against Combs. The successful conviction of a high profile figure like Jackson would empower more victims to report abuse, believing that justice is achievable regardless of the perpetrator's status. This shift is reflected in the numerous lawsuits filed against Combs, with victims alleging various forms of abuse spanning decades. The entertainment industry would likely undergo introspection as a result of Jackson's conviction, implementing stricter safeguards to prevent abuse and holding individuals accountable. This cultural shift could contribute to a more robust response to allegations against figures like Combs, ensuring that such cases are addressed with the seriousness they deserve. In this alternate timeline, Michael Jackson's 2005 conviction serves as a pivotal moment, reinforcing the principle that no individual is above the law. This precedent influences the handling of Sean Diddy Combs' legal issues in 2024, leading to more diligent law enforcement efforts, prosecutorial determination, and a societal demand for accountability, thereby shaping a more just and vigilant cultural landscape. The conviction of Michael Jackson in 2005 would have marked a tragic and controversial conclusion to the life of one of the most iconic figures in music history. Instead of a celebrated career comeback with "This Is It," Jackson would face years of isolation, physical decline, and financial ruin. His relationships with his family and children would be strained, and his legacy would be forever tarnished by the conviction, overshadowing his remarkable contributions to music and pop culture. This alternate history serves as a sobering reminder of the complex interplay between celebrity, power, and accountability, showing how one event can alter the trajectory of an individual's life, their loved ones, and the cultural landscape they once dominated. And that wraps up our exploration of what could have happened if Michael Jackson had been found guilty in 2005. I know this scenario isn't easy, especially for those of us who are fans, but it's important to look at these moments from all angles. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think things would have unfolded differently than what we discussed today? Leave a comment below, and let's keep this conversation going. If you found this thought-provoking, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the alternate realities of the people and moments that shaped our world. Thanks for joining me, and until next time, keep asking what if.